All right, Federal Punch in 45 auto, and this is our 230 grain jacketed hollow point. It's pretty good ammunition for its velocity rating at 890 feet per second, which is over 400 foot-pounds energy. So what I want to do today is I want to test this ammunition, and I want to test it through a gun it's pretty much intended for. This is a 5.3-inch Glock 41, real close to a 5-inch 1911. And I want to compare it to how it'll do out of my Smith & Wesson Governor. And this is very interesting. A lot of people will call this a snub-nosed revolver, and they'll be like, well, that's not fair because it's so short of a barrel, but it's actually about the same size gun. And an interesting fact here is I took this 1/3 inch rod here, and I put it down the barrel with a loaded round very carefully off camera. And this is our overall length of that barrel travel, bullet travel in that gun from the bullet nose to the muzzle. I did the same thing, and I put it in the Governor, and it was exactly the same overall bullet travel from bullet nose to muzzle. However, there's some interesting things with this Governor here. Basically, the length of the cylinder before it hits the cylinder throat is made for a 45 Colt, and then the chambers are a little bit bigger than average to accommodate expansion of 410 shells. So sometimes what you get with 45 auto is you get those cases that will kind of expand out a little bit and lose a little pressure, and then you get some bullet gunpowder blow by, stuff like that. However, 45 ACP really is the selling point for this revolver over a Taurus Judge. So you can kind of shoot it cheaply. I am going to find out though how this stuff's going to perform, and it might not perform as well as it does in a pistol, but we're going to find out. So I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time, and then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test here. I have 4 layers of denim, followed by 3 inches of clear ballistics to represent hitting a pectoral muscle, followed by a 1/4 inch MDF, medium density fiberboard, to represent hitting ribs or sternum. Into more clear ballistics, we'll do a shot with the MDF, we'll pull it out and do a shot without it. We'll see how they compare with both the semi-auto pistol and the revolver. Then I'll do some practical accuracy drills at my full-size steel silhouette. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have our Glock 41, and I replaced the magazine and magazine springs and all of that, so it should run good on a standard pressure ammo, and that's what this is. It's not even a plus P. So let's see what we get, how close we get to 890 feet per second with these 45s on this Glock. 899, 865, 863, 878, 875. Runs pretty good, relatively consistent. Now with our Governor here, we're probably going to get some velocity loss. You might even hear a different sound to the cartridges, but I'm going to go single action with this because the trigger pull is pretty heavy on a gun with this revolver cylinder this big, so I don't want to jerk my shots towards a chronograph. So let's see what we get in our Governor. 696, so we're losing some pressure, we're getting some powder blow by for sure. 709, 680, 665, 671. So, you know, it's a little bit quieter. That'll count for something, I suppose, if you had to use it in self-defense, but definitely a huge amount of velocity loss, getting close to 200 feet per second difference. So let's hit our ballistics gel block, and we'll see how good of a design this bullet is, because if it's good enough, it might even expand at this velocity. So let's see what we get in the ballistics gel block. All right, first up, we're going to run this round through the Glock here, through our 1/4 inch MDF, see what we get. All right, let's try it with no MDF. All right, no MDF, just our gut shot with our Glock. Let's go take a look. All right, so it does appear we got some expansion, and that's something we typically don't see with 230 grain in my testing protocol. So we got okay damage. We had some expansion right away because I saw that a bigger hole in the MDF than typical. But our total damage path went to 17 inches and we got some good expansion. Now with no MDF, we over-penetrated just a little bit. We're at about 20 inches, but clear ballistics is a little bit less dense than real ballistics gel. So kind of the numbers where people say 18 is the max is a little bit off with this. So that's about at your max. That's about how far you would be in real gels, about 18 inches. And we got some expansion, so that looks pretty good. Let's try our governor now and see how that compares. All right, Smith & Wesson governor. Pretty slow velocity. So let's see if we get through our 1/4 inch MDF. Now let's try our gut shot. All right, no MDF, just our gut shot. See how it does. Let's go up, take a look. Before I came up here, I knew that we got into the second block because I saw some smoke coming up, a little bit of dieseling there. But what we're seeing here, I want to show the MDF here. This is our impact through our Glock pistol, and here it is through our governor. Now it does appear to be tumbling at that point. It doesn't mean it's tumbling in the air. It just means that by the time it went through this, it probably started to tumble. And we don't see any expansion there that I can tell with the MDF shot. However, our penetration was good. Our damage is about maybe like a very minimally expanding 9mm, even though we didn't get expansion at all. And we're at right at about 15 inches is where our damage path goes to. So that's actually pretty good. Now with no MDF, we went up to about 21 inches. And again, no expansions and a lot less damage actually. So I'm not really sure what happened there, but it's probably tumbling once it hits that stuff. So not a particularly good round for this governor, but that being said, there's very few rounds that are decent for it. Pretty much you have to get a nickel plated case for that case not to expand outward and retain some of that pressure. So let's shoot from, I'm going to start with 25 yards and see what kind of accuracy I can get with these. All right, I'm 25 yards from the target. Let's see how our Glock will do. Center mass, slow fire, see what I can do with this pistol. All right, it's grouping just a little bit to the left for me. Let's try it in the governor. I suspect this might shoot high. Aim center mass. Yeah, really high. I aimed about where that group is, actually a little bit lower, and just centered. So let me aim at the very base of that target about 3 inches up. All right, so I'm gonna go up to 10 yards. I like to do that, just do kind of rapid fire and just see how effective these are and see if I can actually hit anything quickly with this gun, because the trigger on this is really heavy. So let's try that. All right, so I'm about 10 to 12 yards from the target. I'm just gonna see how this thing shoots for me out of the holster. See if I can get a shot with this. Oh. All right, I'm gonna get a better sight picture and rapid fire this thing. All right, shoots pretty good. Can I do the same thing with the governor? I think I missed one, but it's usable. So Federal Punch, it seems like at least for a 5-inch pistol, it's a pretty good ammo choice, because a lot of the rounds I've tested, even the Federal HST in 45 auto, I was having an issue getting expansion, and yet this stuff expanded. And I think the reason why is just the way it's designed. It almost looked like the HST is more rounded a little bit. It's kind of like the current Hydra shock, where it's just kind of a little bit too rounded. As we're looking at this Federal Punch, to me it looked like a much flatter nose, looked like a thinner wall around that hollow cavity, and just looking at it before I tested it, I was thinking, yeah, that's going to expand even if we get a little bit below rated velocity, which we did. So I would say Federal Punch works pretty well. It works better than what I would have expected it to work in a proper platform. Now, testing it through, you know, the Governor or any other gun where you might get super slow velocity, this might kind of simulate like a 3-inch pistol or something like that for our drop in velocity. Yeah, we're not going to get expansion, but it didn't over penetrate, and I see that a lot of times when we have hollow cavities that don't expand. That hollow cavity sometimes still causes that bullet to not over penetrate. Like if it's just a full metal jacket, especially a flat point, it's going to zip through even at that velocity through both blocks. But having that hollow cavity, it just kind of slows it down differently. So overall, I'm going to say Federal Punch 45 Auto. It's pretty good ammo. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.